Good evening. Quick question. Raise your hand if you're sitting next to somebody that you know. You're coming to a business event, one of the reasons to meet new people. But somehow we always end up sitting next to somebody that we already know so well and we can't gain much from. So if you want to get out of your comfort zone, then just get up, change seat, go sit next to somebody you don't know, say hello, and introduce yourself. It's one of the things that we have to learn. It's not easy for most people. Most people have a challenge with it, but it's something important to learn because it can get you a lot of contacts. A lot of big sales were done by two people simply bumping into one another. Another few quick questions, just so I get more comfortable. I'm a little nervous when I get up to speak. So if I ask a few questions and people respond and they shake their heads, I get comfortable. How many of you are actual business owners? Raise your hand if you're a business owner. Okay, good. How many of you have more than 5 employees? Okay. How many of you have made a few good mistakes already in the business? Okay, hold your hands, look around. So next time you make a mistake, just know that you're not alone. One of the challenging things with business is that you start a business, you're excited, you have an idea, you're running the business is growing. Some people here have over 500 employees, and some people here have 5 employees. There's always challenges coming up, and you're looking around and you're trying to figure out, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? What can I do differently? How are other people doing it? And you just don't know. It's similar to parenting. We get married, we have a child, the child is a little baby, they're cute, we enjoy them, and then we have another child, and then one day we walk into the house and we look around, there's a bunch of kids jumping around, and we have no clue how to control them and what to do. And we start questioning ourselves. What am I supposed to do? How do other people do it? I'm not the only one. I'm sure there's some magic tricks. How come other families look so well put together and my kids are all over the place? I can't drive for 1 hour with them. And there's always this wondering if I'm doing it right or not. And with business, it's the same thing. The challenge is that everybody thinks that they are alone and other people are much more organized, much more structured. And especially with social media today, it's very easy to show people how successful you are, or you want them to think you are. So you show people that you're making a statement next to a pool, or while you're barbecuing a steak, and the people watching in less than 20 seconds are starting to feel guilty. So where am I? Where's my pool and where's my steak? Why am I sitting here struggling when everybody else is making money? But the truth is that nobody's making money. Nobody's making money. Everybody is struggling. Everybody's having their struggles. I remember one of my first jobs was with Guardian Life. I was hired as a manager for 65 insurance agents in 2001, I think. And I had 65 insurance agents, and we trained them to go after successful people because you want people that can buy big premiums. And they went, and in order to do life insurance, you have to fill out an application, and then you take a blood test, and it comes back your medical results. And I was training the staff, so I got to look at the actual results that came back from the medical exams. And they started going after successful people making $5 million a year, $10 million a year. And as the results came back, I realized every single one of those people were on heavy medications for depression or anxiety. In the beginning, it didn't make any sense to me. Why would these people be on medication if they're making so much money? And then I saw another person. Slowly, I started realizing that just making a lot of money, or at least making a lot of sales, does not mean that you're successful. It simply means that you're making a lot of money. Now, when people don't have money, they think that having money is the definition of success. Then they have money and they say, yes, I have money, but I didn't get shishi last week, or shlishi, and so now my life is miserable, or they're having issues with employees, or they can't manage their whole life. So in the end of the day, every single person is trying to figure out, what am I doing? How can I do it differently? How are other people doing? And we end up looking for solutions. Now, by nature, we're looking for magic solutions. We would love to have a quick fix solution, okay? And especially in the United States where everything is so quick, we go to the doctor, we get a prescription, we go to the pharmacy, we fill it, we swallow it, we move on. So we're always looking for a quick fix. So part of the challenge with business is the same thing. We're looking for magic. And when people are telling us that they can give us a magic solution, we just have to pay them $48 with a PayPal link. We try it once, twice, and then we realize the only people we make rich are the people that we just paid money to. It doesn't help us much. And then again, we're going back to the same circle. Why can't I figure it out? So what I would like to do tonight is give you an answer to that question. And I believe that by giving you a little bit of an explanation to the bigger picture, you will have a much easier way of making decisions in your business. And then we can come back to specific solutions, which I believe you will also go back and have specific solutions to implement in your business. But if you don't have the bigger picture on what makes a business successful, what makes a person successful, you're not going to have much success with action steps. And that's one of the reasons why people get frustrated. They go to an expert and they ask for advice, they get advice, they try to implement it, and it still doesn't work. I have salespeople that I give them sales tips, and a lot of sales tips, and they still can't make a sale. And then you have people that are doing a lot of sales without any tips. And the question is why? So the answer is that there's a lot more going on than simply asking people what to do. Now, sometimes if you have a computer, which is a robot, and you want to know how do I transfer a Word document to a PDF, you're looking for a simple answer, and the answer is a piece of information that you're simply missing. And somebody tells you, you go here, you click here, you get the results, you go, you do it, and you get the results, and you move on. You are simply lacking a piece of information. But life is a lot more complicated than that. And I think understanding it is very helpful will take your business to the next level. So the first thing that you want to understand is the brain, okay? So as humans, we work with the brain. We have a brain. The brain works extremely, extremely fast, and it's extremely complex. According to experts, we have about between 50,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day, which is an average of 1 per second. Technically, it means when you're getting up in the morning, in the first minute, before you even get out of bed and before you even have time to start your day, you already have 60 thoughts, which is a lot. Now, the scary part is that according to research, 80% of those thoughts are negative. Okay? So if you have 60 thoughts per minute and 80 thoughts are negative, I think it's 42 negative thoughts in 1 minute. So technically, you didn't start your day, you didn't get out of bed, but you already messed up. Because in your mind, you're already thinking through all the possibilities of whatever could go wrong. And the mind does not know the difference between reality and imagination. If you close your eyes right now and you think you go up to the roof here and you bend down, you look down, your body will start shivering even though you're sitting in your chair because your mind does not know the difference. A lot of things that we think we did or we said or we heard, we didn't. Our mind made it up. We don't know, a lot of times we don't know the difference. We're mixing up the two. So 80% is negative, 95% is repetitive. And these two things are very important to remember. We'll get back to it. 80% negative, 95% is repetitive. So that's the actual brain. Now let's go and understand simply how we function. We have our reality. The reality is your business right now, your life right now. The fact that you're sitting here right now, that's your reality. How did you get to that reality? You got to that reality by making decisions. You made a lot of decisions today. We make decisions constantly. We're not even aware how many decisions we make in a day. The fact that you're here means that you made a decision to come here, you made a decision to sign up, you made a decision to get in your car. You rescheduled your day to be here. A lot of people made a decision not to be here. Some people made a decision to drive 2 hours to be here. Some people are living around the corner and they made a decision not to be here. So we make decisions. At the end of the day, our decisions will create our reality, for good or for bad. How do we make decisions? We make decisions by thinking thoughts. Every time we make a decision, we have a thought before that. We're thinking something. Should I go to this seminar or not? And we're thinking. And we have certain thoughts, and based on those thoughts, we make a decision. So you can have people look at the same invite for an event, and everybody will think something different. But Victor Miller used to say that 5 people look out the window and they see snow. And everybody thinks something else. One guy says, thank you Hashem, that snow is white. Could have been black. One guy says, my day is over. I'm not going anywhere. The other guy says, let's go skiing. Okay? They're all seeing the same thing. They all have different thoughts. Why? The answer is that we have a brain. The brain has 100 million neurons making 10,000 connections per minute, figuring out all kinds of things. So the brain technically is a machine that generates thoughts non-stop. Everybody here has non-stop thoughts, but we all get different thoughts from our brain, and the reason is that we all have different things programmed in our brain. So basically from our beginning, from when we're born, our brain starts getting programmed. Based on our upbringing, based on our experience, our brain builds up a lot of beliefs. So every time you see a new thing, you're trying to figure it out. So let's take driving as an example. First time you went into a car, you tried to drive, you were very unsure about it. There was a gas pedal, a stop brake. You had to pay attention and you were not sure how hard to press and how much not to press. You made mistakes and the instructor kept hitting you or braking by his side. And that went on for 1 week, 2 weeks. And then slowly you got better at it. And then one day your brain said, I know how to do this. You don't have to tell me. And from then on, you can drive while talking on the phone, eating, okay? And you're still going to drive perfectly fine. Because the brain is programmed to do it subconsciously without you paying attention. It has a very clear method of how to do it. You have a belief you can do it, you're not worried about it. Now, if you go do something new, your brain starts again. You have a belief about almost anything and everything that goes on. You have a belief about President Trump, you have a belief about any store that you go and you shop there. You're not paying attention to it, but your mind keeps programming beliefs. You're right now making a belief about me, and you're storing it in your brain, and you say, this is my belief about Maurice. Now, the belief could change over the next hour until I'm finished, and then when somebody asks you next week, what do you know Maurice Stein? You don't have to go and start going through all the faces in your brain that you know. You immediately put together the picture, the name, your emotion about it, your opinion about it, and you make a statement about it in less than 10 seconds. And that's how we operate. Now, what happens is that as we get older, we start building a lot of beliefs, and then we operate accordingly. So at the end of the day, when we go into our business now, we start acting, and we will keep getting technically the same results for most people over and over and over, because we keep doing the same things over and over. And the challenging part is that we all believe that we're doing the best we can, because part of the way human beings work is we have to feel good about ourselves. That's just the way we are born. In order to survive, we have to feel good. So what we do is we convince ourselves with logic that what we want to do, that what we are doing is actually the best thing that we can do. We can't do much more, because if we can do something more, we would have done it. So the mind is extremely complicated in that aspect, that whatever we do, we keep convincing ourselves, and then at the same time we're still questioning, maybe not, but for the most part we're convincing ourselves that we're pretty much okay. So people end up living exactly the way they are over and over and over, and they keep complaining that I don't like it. So just understanding this part will change your life going forward, when you realize that everything that you're doing is basically a result of a decision that you made. The decision that you made is a result of a thought that you have. A thought that you have is a decision, is a result of a belief. Which means that if you don't like the end result, you can simply go back and challenge your beliefs and say, which belief do I have about life, about this particular thing that I did? So let's take an example. Let's say you don't have enough money, which most people feel that that's the case. I don't have enough money. Now, in order for you not to have a lot of money, there's a lot of things that you have to do. Now, most people will say, I'm not doing anything not to have money. I'm doing everything I can to make money. But the reality is, that's not true, because whatever you did today, you could have done a lot of different things. How many of you made 100 phone calls today prospecting? Anyone? No. How many of you met with 5 people today to see if they can give you more business? Now, technically, everyone here has the capabilities of doing that. I know people who have 5 meetings a day with potential prospects every single day for 20 days a month, every single month. Most people say, I can't do it. You can, you're choosing not to, because it's difficult, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, you're doing a lot of things every day, which is causing you not to have money. Now, one interesting thought that I had recently, I'm not 100% sure about it, but I think it's true, that it might be more difficult to fail than to succeed. Because if you think about it, every single person here, if you want to succeed, there's a few things that you have to do, and you have to do them very well. Let's take an example, any business here, okay? Let's say you're selling, let's take an example. Who wants to volunteer? A business, what do you do? What do you do? Web developer, okay? If you want to double your business in the next 12 months, what do you have to do? Get double the amount of clients. You have a few options. You can get double the amount of clients. You can get the same amount of clients but charge them double. Or you can offer them an additional service that will double your income, okay? All of these things. Now let's say you want to get double the amount of clients. Can you create a list of actions that you can do every day in order to achieve that? Yes, everybody can. And if they can't, I'll be happy to help you do that, okay? And you can Google it and get as many ideas and tips as you want to achieve almost anything. But at the end of the day, you're not going to do it. Why? Because disciplining yourself to do what you have to do is difficult. But let's look on the other side. Not succeeding is also very difficult. You have to get up every day and convince yourself why you have to keep struggling. You have to deal with the fact that you don't have enough money. You have to deal with the fact that you're not meeting up to your own expectations of yourself for life. And you have to keep convincing yourself why it has to stay that way. You have to keep convincing your wife or your significant other why you can't do better than that. Which one is easier? In reality, it's easier to just do what you gotta do to make the money and succeed. But still, most people will not do it. Same reason why most people don't exercise, why most people are overweight. They simply don't want to do the basic things, even though it's much easier to walk for 20 minutes a day than to deal with the fact that you're overweight and you're struggling from it all day. But we don't work logically, we work emotionally. The way we work, the mind works is, we make a decision emotionally and then we justify it logically. We walk into the store, we're hungry, and we have to make a decision. Do we want to buy a tuna sandwich or a vegetable salad? Logically, we know that the tuna sandwich is going to make us tired, the vegetable salad is going to make us energized. Emotionally, we just feel more comfortable with the tuna sandwich. So we buy the tuna sandwich and then we walk out and we say, actually, it's not just the health reason. It's more like, I need to feel fulfilled. I need to feel the energy in order to work. I really need to be full. If I'm hungry, I can't function like that. And I remember once that I had a salad and I couldn't work well. So it's perfectly fine, the tuna salad, because we don't want to feel that we're doing the wrong thing. So that's just the way we work. So going back, so everything boils down to beliefs. I want to do a simple exercise with you just to show you the power of beliefs, okay? So let's do the first row, okay? Because you wanted to sit close, so you're going to suffer now. So I'm not going to do anything public that will embarrass you, so just work with me. You have a notepad, okay? Take a notepad and take a pen. I'm going to start the sentence. You have to fill in the last word. So I'm going to say, today is, you're going to write Wednesday, okay? But you cannot think. You have to write what the first thing that comes to mind without thinking, okay? We're good? Okay, so let's do it quick, okay? So in the first sentence, okay, I am. Finish the sentence, quick. Okay, next. Money is. Okay, third line, employees are. If you don't have employees, you can write people are. And the last one, life is. Okay, so let's look at the first one, I am, okay? So we got 4 answers, okay? One person wrote his name, okay? This is who I am, okay? Second person wrote, I am smart. Third person wrote, I am crazy. The fourth person wrote, I'm sorry. Okay? Now, let's stop here and think for a minute, okay? If you believe that if your identity, when you go to the mirror, is I am smart, or you believe I am sorry, will you operate your life differently? Yes or no? Okay? Will these two people do their things different, take different actions all day long? Yes or no? Okay? Now, let's go to the next question. Money is. Okay? One person wrote almost everything. One person wrote important, one person wrote good, one person wrote money helps to achieve everything, okay? So most people are on the same page that money is a good thing and money helps, so that's fine, okay? Third question was employees are. First person wrote employees are a must to succeed, a must to success. One person wrote, employees are weak. One person wrote, employees are tough. And one person says, employees are the help to the goals. Okay? So one person feels employees are a must to success, and one person feels employees are tough. These two people walk into their business. One person feeling employees are important to success, and one person feels employees are tough. The first person walks by and says, good morning. Do they respond differently? Yes or no? Okay? This is something that is very, very common, and I know a lot of people are here about employees. But it's so obvious. I deal with a lot of business owners every day, every week. Every person has so many different beliefs when it comes to employees. And it's amazing to see the results. Some people feel that employees are an important part of the team. Some people feel that employees are everything and their job is simply to help the employees succeed, and by doing so, they will be successful as a result. And some people feel that employees are here to take advantage of them, and they have to make sure all day long to make sure they're not being taken advantage of. Can you imagine the differences between the two? Okay. The last question, life is. One person said sometimes great and challenging. The other person said life is good, life is great, life is awesome. Okay? So, Baruch Hashem, we didn't have any life is hell. I get that when I have the whole audience answering, but I don't want to waste time now with everybody being busy with answering. But it's an exercise that you can always do, but it shows you how a simple question, you will get an answer from every person differently. Now, this is also important when it comes to employees. When you're dealing with employees, every single employee has his own beliefs. And the two beliefs are never the same. So your job as a business owner is to work together with the employees and understand their beliefs and figure out where are we trying to go together and what beliefs do we need, and help the employees achieve those beliefs as a team. But when you're sitting down with an employee, you're thinking about one thing, he's thinking about something else. The two beliefs are completely different, and it becomes very, very challenging. I'll tell you a scary story that happened to me 2 weeks ago. And it showed me the importance of an event like this, how important it is. I was meeting with a company in Flatbush, and I met the COO of the company, the guy that's in charge of all the employees. The owner is on top of the company, the owner is not so involved. The COO technically runs the company. And the meeting was about taking the company forward. And we discussed for 3 hours, we discussed a detailed plan, what the company can do to move forward. And I was very excited. We're going to move forward. I love to see my ideas actually being implemented and come back and see the results. Everything was fine. Before I left, the person turns to me and the person says, Maurice, I want to tell you something. And I said, okay. And they say, I know already when they say that there's something coming. And they said, I want you to know that I'm totally not excited and ready to do much about what we discussed today. I was a little surprised after 3 hours of discussing, and I said, why is that? And he tells me, because nobody cares. And I said, what do you mean nobody cares? You have a boss. I'm sure your boss appreciates when you do things to make the company move forward. And they said, not really. And I asked, what do you mean? And they said, I'm getting very, very little recognition for my work. And they tell me that they appreciate my work, but only the small things that I do. The fact that I'm running the whole company for them, zero recognition. And because of that, I feel it makes no sense for me to go out of my way to help the company move forward. Why would I do that? Now, it hurts for me. As much as I do my job and I get paid for my time, I want to see things getting implemented. It feels bad wasting time. Now, the sad part is I met the owner before, and the owner is a very nice person, and the owner really appreciates the employee, and the owner is very aware of the contribution to the company from the employee. But at the end of the day, the owner feels he has a COO running the company. He even paid for a consultant to help the COO, and the COO walks around feeling like 2 cents, not willing to make an effort to grow the company. Now, they do a good job in maintaining the daily activity of the company, but that's not enough. A company has to grow in order to survive and in order to succeed. They were not interested, he was not interested in doing that. Now, I will tell you the reason why the owner doesn't do it. There's a very simple reason. The owner is afraid that if they give too much recognition for the COO is going to take advantage of that, and ask for a raise. So the solution is to not acknowledge his existence, just talk to him about work, and ignore the fact that he's human. Look at him as a robot, as a machine that produces X amount per hour, and you're producing, you're getting paid, and that's it. I'm paying you. I'm paying you for the job that you're doing. What else do you want? Am I not paying you nicely? The fact is that that's not what people want. People will leave a job. You can ask Hawk Staffing how many meetings they had in the last 2 months where people, I was at a few of those meetings, and people said, I'm making $150,000 a year and I want to leave my job right now. I don't care about the money. I want to be in a place where I want to grow. Okay? And this is a change. If you look in the booklet, later on, you'll see this is a major change from 10 years ago till now. The employees are much more into now growth. People are in interviews are asking, what's my growth potential? Where am I going? It used to be people were looking at a job as something that they come in the morning, they go home at night, they do their job, they get paid. This was like the factory style working that started in the beginning of 1900s, and it went till 1990. But since 1990, with the internet and everything switched over to a service business. Everything that is a factory has been moved to China, and everything that could have been automated has been automated. The only thing that's left for human is basically service businesses, and service businesses is all about feeling good. You cannot push people to be nice. They have to really feel comfortable. If you're going to treat them badly, they're going to treat the customers badly, and unfortunately, I would say 80% of businesses are treating their customers badly. Not intentionally, but because their employees are not excited, and because there's no structure in the company. I was this morning in a business in Brooklyn, and every single job that the company did in the last 2 weeks was wrong. Customers complained, and all the employees feel terrible. Now it's hard to pinpoint what the problem is. It's a combination of a lot of factors. And again, it comes back to what we discussed earlier. It's not something that you say, sometimes people say, so tell me what I need to fix. A few people asked me this question here when I introduced myself to them. Can you tell me what to fix in my business? I can, but it's not easy. It's not something that you just fix. It's something you have to change. Your beliefs have to change, and your business will follow. A business will always reflect the mindset of the owner. Wherever you feel the owner thinks, believes, that's what the business will be, because the owner makes the decisions. He decides who to hire, he decides what rules to implement, and then people just follow. Okay? So let's take what we discussed, and let me give you a simple, practical way of how to actually implement it in your business and in your life. So if you look at the booklet, turn to this page. This page you have, it's broken down into 4 categories: who, why, how, and what. And the concept is that everything we do in life, in business, has these 4 categories. Who is doing it? Who is the person doing it? Why are they doing it? How are they doing it? And what are they doing? Okay? So let's take a business let's take a business and break these things down. Now, the first thing, you're the owner. Who are you? So like we discussed before, I am. How do you answer the question when you go in front of the mirror in the morning and you say to yourself, I am? How do you finish that sentence? It makes a very big difference in how you're going to operate. If you feel I'm a loser because you have tried a lot of things and you failed, this is going to be your identity. Now, the scary part about identity is that we will always live based on our identity. This is what we discussed before. The way we feel about ourselves, our lives will always match that. Somebody once told me an interesting point, that after the war, most Jewish people were left with a pair of pants. They had nothing. 10 years later, almost everybody that had money before the war had money again. Why? They didn't bring from Ingern money with them to start a business here. Almost nobody did. It's the mindset. They knew they are successful people. They knew that they can make money. They didn't know English, they didn't know anything. They had to start from scratch. But within 10 years, they were successful. Because the mindset was a successful mindset. So if you feel, I am somebody that doesn't know how to treat employees, this is how you're going to operate your business. And it's sad to watch, but you have business owners that are afraid of their employees. They don't know what to do. They let them do whatever they want. And they're like, I don't know what to do. You can't run a business like that. You either change your identity or you hire somebody to do it for you to run the business. You can't expect to be successful if your identity doesn't match your results. If you want to be a successful business owner, you really have to look at yourself as a successful business owner. The fact that you don't have money right now does not make you successful or a failure. Every successful business person that I know has failed multiple times. A lot of them went bankrupt. It does not make them less successful. And I'll give you a good way of looking at it. A lot of people say, you know, you want me to go to the mirror and say, I am successful? I'm not a liar. I don't feel successful. What do you want me to do? I'm not. Now, let's do a simple exercise, okay? And I'm going to explain you a concept that Rabbi Yossel Goldman told me a few minutes ago, but it's something that I share with when I speak to people. If you think about it for a minute, on a scale from 0 to 10, 0 meaning you're a total failure, 10 meaning you're unbelievable successful, where would you put yourself right now? Give me numbers. Where would you put yourself right now? Can't hear you. As a business owner, you have to learn how to speak. Speak up, don't be afraid. 7? Okay. Anybody else? No, you can't repeat. 6, okay. Most people will say 6, 7. Why? Because I'm not successful, but I'm not a failure either. So let's be somewhere in between, we're fine, let's move on, okay? Let me ask you the next question. A newborn baby, 2 weeks old, a 0, a 10, where would you put it? 10? Sure? Nobody wants to say 0? Okay, 10. 0? Okay, why 10? He's the best he can be, okay? Even though he hasn't done a single thing. Best he can be, okay? So how do we go from being a 10 at age 0 to be a 6 at age 30, okay? The answer is, he's the best he can be. So as we get older, we start having expectations. So as a child, 4 or 5 years old, most kids feel they're extremely successful. They can build castles from sand, okay? They can be fire-lashes policemen, they can do anything they want, anytime, they run the whole world. They're very happy, they're very excited. Then they start getting older and people start telling them, you can't do this, you can't do this, you're not good at this, you're not good at this. Who told you you can do everything? It comes to the age 18 and people say, forget it, I'm done. I'm worthless, okay? Sometimes I interview people 19 years old. What are you good at? Nothing. Have you done anything? Nothing. What do you think you can do? Not sure. Nobody home. That person 15 years ago was sure that he has better ideas than Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. If he can just be president, he would do this, he would do this. Now he's sure he can't do anything. Why? Because he slowly changed his beliefs. Now, the truth is this is not how you judge who you are. Because Hashem created us as perfect human beings. We have different roles in life, okay? Different roles in life. We're all parents, we're all neighbors, we're all Jews, we're all friends, we're business people. We have to practice those areas in life. And we keep improving in those areas. We have to improve every day because they're very challenging. If you decide today to go learn how to drive a plane, and you take your first class, and I say, do you know how to drive a plane? And you say, no, I just started. And I say, how do you feel about yourself that you don't know how to drive a plane? Why should I feel nothing. I'm learning. What do you want? You don't feel like a failure. So everything that you see, I'm not successful here, I'm not successful there, you're not supposed to be. It's a journey. It's a long ride. I have clients that made last year $5 million net profit, and now they're struggling to cover payroll. Some people had major changes in their business. You're running an Amazon business. You're getting a letter from Amazon to tell you to liquidate your inventory and close your account within 4 weeks. Now what? Does that make you a failure? It doesn't. You're on a journey. You're not in control of the journey. There is a purpose why you're here on this world. Part of the purpose is that you have to keep growing. The only way for you to keep growing is by facing challenges. You're going to get those challenges no matter what you do. The only thing is you want to grow and learn the tools. They say that everybody has certain challenges they have to overcome in life, and until you don't overcome them and you grow to handle them, they're going to keep coming back over and over in different formats. At the end of the day, we have to grow. So going back to your identity. You want to figure out what is the identity that I want to be. I want to be a successful person. What does that mean to you? How would you act? How would you feel as a successful person? And then start feeling like that. It's okay if not everything doesn't match up. You know, there's a famous story with a Satmar Oishe that had a son-in-law that didn't have money. So he said, Rabban Shlomo must ihm gegeben Ashiras, geben schon mal ein bisschen Geld auch. You can be an Oishe without having money. Everybody says that it's much easier to work on the second million than it is on the first million. Why? Because when you have the first million in the bank, you act differently, you think differently. You are going to make a lot of decisions tomorrow in your business. The decisions that you're making is matching your current identity. If you change your identity, you will make bigger decisions. I deal with brokers that make millions of dollars a year in commissions. When they get up in the morning, they're looking for deals where they can make a lot of money. They're not looking for small deals, because small deals is not going to get them to the number that they know they're going to make. People that are struggling are looking for opportunities where they can make enough money to survive, but to keep struggling. Doesn't make much sense, but this is the way the mind operates. So you need to create an identity that you want to be and start focusing on that identity, and then ask the question, what do I need to get there? Which beliefs do I need to change? Okay? So the first part is always the who, the identity. If you make one small change in your identity, everything else will change. So let's think about this for a minute. We have the who, the why, the how, and the what. The what is the action. The how is the skills, how to do the things. The why is your beliefs, and the who is your identity. Where do you think most people spend time when they're looking for change? Which part are they trying to change? Actions. Almost 80 or 90% of change that people are looking for is action. Tell me what to do differently, because I'm doing everything. You have something? Tell me. Okay? Now, you do that, most of the time you will fail. Unless, as we discussed, it's a simple technical thing that you need. If it's not a technical thing that you need, changing an action most of the time is not going to do it. Now, on the other hand, the identity is on the other side of the spectrum. If you change your identity one drop, everything else will change. Anybody here that makes any commitment for the next 30 days, it doesn't make a difference what it is. It could be walking 20 minutes a day. It could be reading for half an hour a day. It could be speaking to your wife for 10 minutes a day. It could be making phone calls. It could be writing down every night a list what you're going to do the next day. If you do that for 30 days, it will change your identity. It will change who you are, and everything else will follow. 3 months later, you'll say, I don't know why, but somehow everything changed. And the reason things changed is because when you change your identity, you will automatically do things differently. Next, why? Why is beliefs, okay? There's a lot of work now with companies to figure out their why. Why are we in existence? So why does your business exist? A lot of people don't know how to answer this question. What do you mean, why my business exists? My business exists to make money. It's not a good answer. A business does not exist to make money. A business exists to serve a certain purpose. Money is a result from doing things right. If your focus is on making money, a lot of times you will end up struggling. The businesses that have been successful had a very strong why behind it. Now, it's not so easy to figure out the why. I can give you examples. I wrote down here today 3 examples of big companies that we all know. So Microsoft's why is, like we discussed before, belief. A belief means you're creating something that you believe in, and that generates your thoughts, which results in your action, which results in your reality. So Microsoft's mission statement or purpose, why, is our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. It's very interesting. I'll say it again. Our mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Microsoft is a software company. Their mission, their why, is not to make the best software. Their why is to empower people to achieve more. Bill Gates has a vision of creating computers for $4 each and giving it to every person in Africa so they can have a college on their little tablet and learn and get the same education as people here in the United States. That's his vision. He's willing to spend 80% of his assets, of his money, to achieve that. So Microsoft is driven to create things that will empower more people. Every decision they make, they look, does that match our decision? Every employee that they hire, they look, can I bring that person on board with my beliefs? Google, to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Very simple statement. A very simple statement, to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. So everything they do, every company they buy, every employee they hire, they're always looking at this and saying, does this action help me get closer to my mission statement? If not, I don't do it. Now, do they make a lot of money in the end? Yes. But that's a result, because when you do good things, you will make money. That's just the way it is. But that's not their focus. Starbucks, to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. You realize there's nothing about coffee. One of the ways they inspire and nurture the human spirit is by giving people coffee to drink so people can enjoy each other while having a cup of coffee. I had a meeting today in Starbucks, and half of the people were not drinking coffee. They were enjoying each other, and Starbucks is perfectly okay with that, because they believe that when you inspire people, good things happen. In their case, people end up buying stuff because people get hungry, and they find a lot of ways of how to monetize it. It's perfectly okay to monetize your business. You don't have to work for free. But your focus cannot be, how do I make another dollar? That does not work. You have to say, how can I serve better? Every business is in business of serving people, creating value for people. Hawk Staffing, for example, has a mission statement of helping people find the best opportunity for them, where they can thrive. It's a very simple mission statement. But it's not so simple when you think about it, because you have to make a lot of decisions. What I tell people, businesses that I help figure out their why, is I say, you have to imagine taking $100,000, putting it in the side, and be willing to spend it to achieve your why. Because every business has to make decisions. Should you give a refund to a customer or not? Let's say Hawk Staffing, for example. They can make a placement for a business and make $10,000. But they realize that the business owner is not such a nice person. The employee is going to suffer from being there. But it's $10,000. Do you do it or you're not doing it? The employee could take the job and be happy, but it's still the wrong thing to do. So they go back to the mission statement and they say, look at our mission. And the answer is no, they don't do it. They tell the customer, I'm sorry, we don't have anybody that's a good fit for you. It's hard to tell people, we can't help you because you're mean. And they lose the $10,000 and they move on. Now, in the end, they will make a lot more than $10,000, because when you have a mission statement and you're very focused, you end up serving the right people the right way. And you end up making a lot of money. So money always will follow. But you have to be willing to lose money on your mission statement. A lot of times, people, they have a business and then they don't have any clarity why they're in business. So whatever comes, they do. So sometimes they buy cheap quality, sometimes they treat customers badly because the customer is not a good customer anyway, or because we're not making money on this guy. And at the end of the day, after 2 years, you look around and you ask people, what do you think about this company? And people say, I don't know. Don't have an opinion. If you ask people their opinion about a company that has a strong why, people will be very clear about them. It doesn't mean that they will always like them. Some people hate Microsoft and they will only use Apple, and that's okay. You're not here to please everybody. You never will please everybody. Trying to please everybody is a sure recipe for disaster. They say if you please 50% of people, you're doing very good. So, but you have to be very clear why you are in business, to have a plan and stick to it. So, going back, why does your employees' work matter? Some people look at their employees as simply, I would love for all the employees to disappear so I can have more money, but I need them, so I have to pay their payroll. Other people say, no, the whole business is the employees. So my job is to make the employees happy. So that's the why, about when it comes to employees. Another why is, why do I care for my customers, and what is my promise to my customers? There has to be, every business has to have a very strong promise to their customers. What is it that you will always do? And then make sure that you stick to it. The next thing is how, the skills. Everything that you do, there's a skill behind it. If you're selling, you need communication skills. Everybody needs communication skills. If you're a project manager, you need organization skills. There's always a skill behind it. So instead of focusing on the action, focus on the skill. If you focus on communication skills, your sales and your life will change automatically. Years ago, I took training for business coaching. Part of the training was we learned how to listen. It's a skill. Listening is a skill. Most people think that they're listening, but they're not. Because we all have a little voice in our head that keeps talking while we're listening to other people. So as soon as you start talking, that voice starts talking as well, and it says, I disagree with you. I have something very good to tell you as soon as you're finished. You're not listening. We're having an argument. You're talking, I'm talking, we're all talking, but there's nothing that happens from that. Really listening is a skill. And we took 20 hours of training of listening. And the way it worked is, that we had to listen to the other person. When they finished, we had to repeat, tell them what they said, and they had to say, yes, this is what I said. Then we had to stop for 2 minutes, complete silence, and then respond. And you learn to slow down and really listen. Most people are afraid that if somebody asks a question or says something and they don't respond within 2 seconds, that the world will fall apart. And that stress causes you to just say something. The reality is the other way. The more silence, the more relationships you will develop. It's perfectly fine if there is complete silence. It gives you time to think. And it shows the other person that you're taking the conversation very, very seriously. Good? Okay? So listening is something that all of you can practice. You take your wife, your husband, you sit down, and you really listen. Now, that's a skill. Any skill that you take, there's thousands of skills that you can learn. Focusing on skills, if you improve 1 skill a month, in a year from now, you'll have 12 skills that you improved, and that will change all your actions. Your actions will be naturally different if you change the skill level on top of that, okay? How do you deliver your promise to your customers consistently? Do you have systems in place on how to do things? How can you help them grow? So it comes to employees, the same thing. Which skills can I help my employees learn? Which skills can I learn how to improve my relationships with my employees? The more you improve your skills for yourself and for your employees, the more results you'll get from your business. The last part is the action part, which is the actual things that you need to do. So if we look at employees, the action part is breaking down the responsibilities of each employee. There's a famous book called The 1 Minute Manager, which is a big study they did on employees, figuring out what makes employees happy or not happy in their jobs. And their conclusion was that employees want 3 things. Tell me what you want me to do, tell me when I'm doing it right, and tell me when I'm doing it wrong. And in the beginning, they couldn't believe it. This is like so simple. Who doesn't do that? Every company tells their employees what they need to do. And every company tells the employees when they do good. Because at some point, you give them a compliment. And then when they don't do something good, you criticize them. But when they start actually looking into the details, they realize that no, a lot of most companies, tell employees what their job is, but they never take the time to actually break it down into details. The employee's always worried, what am I supposed to do? And you keep telling the employee, why didn't you do this? The employee says, I didn't know this is also my job. So part of helping your employees is to actually create job descriptions. You can do it with them together and say, let's sit down and let's go through your job and let's write down exactly what your responsibilities are so you're clear and I'm clear and we're both clear. And then tell me when I'm doing it right. A lot of people feel that I'm paying you for your job. Why am I supposed to tell you that you're doing it right? And why am I supposed to compliment you? You're just doing your job. You know, the guy that told his wife, his wife complained that he never acknowledges her and he never compliments her. He said, I told you, after the wedding, I told you that I love you. If anything changes, I'll let you know. But this is not how marriage works, and this is not how any relationship works. Human beings need constant reinforcement. They need to feel that you appreciate their work. They need to feel that you like what they do. And the same thing goes for the other way. When they don't do something right, most employees appreciate when you sit down and you say, this is what you did, and this is what's wrong, and this is how you should do it differently. A lot of people say, nah, I'm too busy, I'm not comfortable, I'll sit down with the employee, they'll feel bad, I'll feel bad. Just forget it, it's fine. It's not fine. You eat yourself up, and then after a while, you tell the employee, you know how many things you're doing wrong? And they're like, no, I don't. Why don't you tell me? So as a boss, you have to have the strength to sit down with your employee and say, this is what you're doing, This is what I like about what you're doing. This is what I appreciate. And this is what I would like you to change. If the employee can't handle it, you shouldn't hire them in the first place. When I interview people, I try to challenge the people and see if they can handle critic. And I had a lot of times that people couldn't handle simple, basic critic. And then I can't hire them, because as an employee and as a boss, you need the ability to have open conversations and say, this is working, this is not working. If you're not comfortable to have that conversation, we can't grow. We're going to get stuck very quickly. So this is basically the overall idea that I wanted to share with you, but let me summarize it quickly, and then we'll move on to the questions and answers, because I think you'll benefit a lot from hearing from real experts that are on the field. So to summarize, everything goes back to beliefs. Everything goes back to our identity. You want to keep focusing on what your identity is right now, what your beliefs are right now, what do you want your identity to be as a successful person, what beliefs should you have, and then follow with learning the skills and then implementing the action. And if you keep focusing on this list by yourself, or you take a partner or an expert and you work on it, your life will change and your business will follow. Thank you all for listening.